The other day, for some reason, when I came back to camp and turned in some animals that I had, there were two Crips wandering around my camp. Now, I don't really like Crips that much. He's kind of a douchebag, quite honestly, but he's my partner, and my trading enterprise has been a nice side business. So I do not take kindly to an imposter hanging around in my camp trying to gum up the works. So he was dealt with, as you can see, quite harshly. Anyway, this is just a kind of weird thing, so I made a video of it, thought I'd use it as an intro. Today should have been my first day of my lost streak, but it was not. As like I said earlier, my trip was canceled. My weekend getaway, my wife and my son took off in a car loaded up with each other and a bunch of stuff and a bunch of baby stuff, and they are driving across the country to go see my oldest son, my daughter-in-law, and their new baby, which unfortunately I cannot get away to see them. So me and my daughter, who both have to work, are here. My daughter will leave in a week, and I'll actually be completely by myself for a few days later, and then I will go see them a little bit later in the summer. Unfortunately, I'll miss the brand newborn phase because that doesn't last very long. I won't see it, although based on all the pictures and videos I've seen, it looks like it is completely deja vu with my son. His own son looks like a clone of him, and it's like the exact same, the exact same baby that we already had is what he's having. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, my outfits for today are the first of what I've been promising. I started making outfits based on regions. And so first off, I started making them based on the states, the fake states of Red Dead Redemption. And there are 5 fake states. I expanded it to 6 by including New Paradise. I, in fact, am deliberately calling it New Paradise instead of Nuevo Paraíso, and I'm just considering it as a state. I know in the game it's supposed to be part of Mexico, and parts of it do look kind of Mexican, but the real signature region of New Paradise looks exactly like Monument Valley, and that is not only not in Mexico, it is deep in the U.S. It is on the border of Arizona and Utah near Colorado, right near the Four Corners area. So it is hundreds and hundreds of miles north of the Mexican border. So and it is obviously Monument Valley. I mean, it even has a rock formation that looks like one of the 2 mittens, and there's 2 mittens in Monument Valley. I think there's only one in Nuevo Paraíso, but I'm calling it New Paradise, pretending like it's a fake U.S. state instead of a fake Mexican state. Granted, you can't actually access it in Red Dead 2, but we know it's there, and you can see it across the river. And it's likely that I still think it's likely that we'll get access to it at some point through an expansion or DLC or something. I really hope so, and I hope that's not just wishful thinking, but I think that we will. So the 3 that I did today are actually, I made them in 2 sets of 3, right? So each set has a hot, average, and cold weather. Now there's only one state that's usually really cold, although there are places in a couple of other states that are sometimes cold. So I did the best that I could, and there's 3 places, especially if you count New Paradise. There's 3 places that are hot, and I only needed 2. I actually decided to make New Paradise an average temperature outfit rather than a hot temperature outfit because, Monument Valley, not being in Mexico, is far enough north and high enough up in altitude that it does get kind of cold. And even in the summer, it can be cool at night, although it gets very hot during the day. The shoulder seasons, fall and spring, are quite mild and pleasant, and winter, they almost always have snow. Now, granted, I've never been to Monument Valley itself. I have been to a number of areas very close nearby, like Arches National Park. Grand Canyon isn't too far away. Farmington, New Mexico isn't too far away. I've actually driven past the Four Corners Monument. So, I know that there's actually I know what it's like, even though Monument Valley is technically a place I haven't ever been. The first three that I made were actually the New Hanoverian, the West Elizabethan, or West Elizabethan, which is my cold weather outfit, New Hanoverian being average, and the Lemoynois, or the Lemoynian. I used kind of the Quebecois French type way of describing that, turning that into an adjective. However, all three of those are going to be in the next video. I'm not quite sure why I did this, but I actually grabbed the second set first and put them on my horse and ran around with them. I really quite like these outfits. I actually quite like the first set even better, but this one, these are pretty good. Some of these are likely to be candidates for some of my greatest hits outfits. I think all three of the ones in my next video are all going to be very strong candidates for being in the greatest hits video. And there's only 6 states, technically it was only 5, so after that I had to do something else, and I started using the regions within the states and a couple of other things. I may not, strictly do these regional videos every single time I make an outfit, but I've quite enjoyed doing them. Like I said, the New Paradise is not Mexican at all, even though it's based on a Mexican state in the game. It's got the Eberhard coat with the giant eagle on the back. It's really kind of raw America. Although, to be honest with you, the eagle is, although it's a brown eagle, but it is also a symbol of Mexico. It's on their freaking flag, for crying out loud. But I think that outfit in particular looks very American. So I am treating this as kind of an alternate version of Red Dead, where New Paradise is an American rather than Mexican state. And maybe, in fact, since it's not even in the game, it would almost make more sense if it were north of New Austin rather than south of New Austin. Instead of south of the river, it would be north, I guess, of that kind of ridge of rock that protects the northern edge of most of New Austin. And then this New Paradise, I guess its eastern edge would butt up against tall trees north of New Austin, I guess. Anyway, whatever. Don't overthink it. I've got the new Austenite today, which is a hot weather outfit, kind of a lot of black on it. It looks a little bandit-y. It actually isn't it's kind of a variation on a theme that I have done before. The particular vest that I have with the particular crossed bandoliers over it. I've done that before. I really like the look of it, though, with the leather pants and the specific hat and some of the other stuff I did with it. The New Paradise, I bought that coat. I only bought one of them as a limited time coat. It costed gold. I bought it and then I couldn't ever figure out what to do with it. And I never really liked it. This is the first outfit I've used it in where I actually liked it. So my New Paradise, I'm actually kind of excited for it. I like the Eberhard coat for the first time on this outfit. And then the Ambarinian, I don't know how to turn that into an adjective exactly. Ambarinian is, I think, what I said, is it's just I used some stuff that I don't always use. Yeah, it's a little tricky because, unfortunately, because there's nothing to do in the West Grizzlies, and it's never really cold enough anywhere else that you need a cold weather outfit. You just don't really do much with cold weather outfits. So I make them because you kind of think you need to have one of all three, but in reality you don't. So I've kind of got some of this stuff that I don't use very often, and I'm very careful when I do use it because some of this stuff isn't necessarily obligatorily cold. It's slightly warm, not very warm. So you have to be careful about stacking it up or you get into a cold weather appropriate outfit without trying to. On the other hand, sometimes, it can be tricky to get a hot weather outfit to be appropriate for average. And you just got to be a little careful with what you do. There are a few hats that if you put them on will make almost any outfit cold weather appropriate. Those are probably a little too much sometimes. There's a one or two vests that do the same thing. There's a number of others, though, that are kind of slightly warm. Sometimes you have to use them. You have to also use the Hershaw gauntlets, which add a little bit of warmth. You have to use some warm boots. You have to use maybe some warm chaps. I think the Heartland chaps are warm. They're furry looking. They sure ought to be. And then you have to use some of the warmer pairs of gloves. And sometimes even then it's still hard to get your outfit up into average even. So a lot of my average ones, if you'll look at them as I do them, you'll wonder why I stuck gauntlets on even though you can't see them because the sleeves of my coat cover them up. Usually it is to get it into the temperature range that I want it in. That's why my characters very often wear gloves too on average. Just about the only time that I don't wear gloves is in some of my hot weather outfits. Occasionally I'll do it on some of my average if I am struggling and it's bouncing between cold and average. If I take the gloves off and that works, then that's great. Anyway, I hope you like these outfits. I do. I'm going to like the next video's outfits even better. Those are really, I got to say, and preview of coming attractions, those are 3 of my favorite outfits that I've ever made. Although I may tweak little tiny things of them when I add them to Greatest Hits. We'll see. But I really like them. I think they turned out really well. I think this whole series of regional outfits is something that I actually kind of got a little excited about, and I'm going to keep doing it. Although after I get past these 6, the next set I have after that, you're probably going to think, okay, yeah, he lost his way. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. He's just throwing random elements into an outfit. And, every once in a while you do that. You just make these really kind of strange experimental outfits where you use elements that you don't use very often and you're trying to figure out what to do with them. I have, for example, and this is, again, a bit of a spoiler, I guess, I have a Roanoke outfit that I made that is probably the tackiest outfit I have ever made. Although I kind of feel that maybe that's appropriate for a Roanoke outfit. Needless to say, that one will not be making my Greatest Hits, but it was kind of fun to make anyway, just because it was so different than anything else that I've made. Anyway, I will stop talking and let you watch the rest of this as it is. Bye.